Dear brothers and sisters, loving Sai Ram to all of you. We welcome all of you to this online satsang of the Sathya Sai Center of Arcadia. On 20th and 21st, right? Yeah, so 20th evening, 8 p.m. and 21st at 9 a.m. because of different time zones of the devotees around the world. So in preparation for that, so we are diving deep into the teaching. The theme of that for birthday celebration is happiness is union with God. So we talked in our sermon many times. What is happiness? Happiness, people think eating some nice sweets, or going to a movie, or going to a party, or going to the beach. Many concepts people have happiness. But Swami said really happiness is when you have, even in dream we should be able to say yoga. Happiness is yoga, is union with God. That is happiness. So we have series of 6 guides which we are going to do starting today in this coming few weeks in preparation for the birthday celebration. So the theme, I hope you all received the email both in the mail train and also from the officers, where it says first what is happiness. First we should need to know what is happiness, and where is happiness, next one, and then how to be happy, and what are the obstacles for happiness, and our real nature is bliss. So these are the various topics every week we'll be discussing. So today we'll be starting the first theme, what is happiness. So we'll start, each study guide comes with a little example story followed by quotes, and then subsequent to that we have some questions to reflect upon. So because as Swami said, whenever you study Shavana, so we are hearing, Manana, then you contemplate, Nididhyasana, then you ask the question, really, how is it practically applicable to me in my life? Otherwise it becomes a metaphysical discussion, not practical. So Vedanta should be practical. How is it in life we can practice? Because this happiness, let me tell you, whether you believe in God or not, is there anybody who doesn't want to be happy? Yeah. Even the animals, creatures, everything wants to be happy, because Lord Bhagavan is Ananda Swarupa, God, because we are Satchidananda, Sat Chit Ananda. One of the nature says existence, knowledge, existence and bliss. God is Ananda Swarupa. Naturally we all seek for Ananda. There is nobody, because we are the embodiments of Ananda. But the only thing is, this gives a clarification, we are searching in a wrong place. Like Swami says, one elderly lady, she lost a needle when she was stitching the clothes, and she lost, and then she in the house, and it went dark. Then she was searching for the needle on the street, because there was a light, lamp post light. Somebody was asking, Amma, what happened? What is that searching? I'm searching for a needle. Why? Where did you lose? In the house. Then why are you searching here? Because there is a light here. But you lost some other place, so you are searching. Similarly, we are searching for happiness some other place than where we should search. Happiness is inside us. So that is what Swami has told. And all this purpose of spiritual practice is this, to be happy. Lord Krishna says, Atyantika Dukha Nivrutti Niravadhika Ananda Prapti. So get rid of our grief permanently and attain bliss. That is all the spiritual practices we do. Atyantika Dukha Nivrutti, permanent dissolution of this sorrow, and get the bliss. This is the purpose of our spiritual practices. So we are going to dive deep into this topic. So first we'll have the read the story, and then subsequently we'll have the quotes. Okay, so please Anupam, start the story.
Thank you, Dr. Reddy. Sai Ram. Inspirational story. Happiness is union with God. In the Bhrigu section of the Taittiriya Upanishad, which comes after the bliss of Brahman section, is the story of Bhrigu, son of Varuna. While teaching Bhrigu the Brahman phenomenon, self-realization, Varuna says, quote, Son, Brahman cannot be seen through the eyes. Know that Brahman is that which enables the eyes to see and the ears to hear. He can be known only through extreme yearning in a cleansed mind and concentrated thought. No other means can help." Unquote. He added, quote, "Dear Bhrigu, I know that everything in the universe originates from Brahman, divinity, exists in Brahman, unfolds through Brahman, and merges in Brahman alone. Discover it yourself through concentrated spiritual practice." Unquote. The father gave him only these indications before directing him to enter upon spiritual exercises that would ultimately reveal the truth. With full faith in the words of his father, Bhrigu engaged in concentrated spiritual practice. The process of self-control and self-inquiry raised his consciousness, and he believed what he understood at that stage as Brahman, and decided that food was Brahman. When he declared that he had come to know, his father Varuna told him that his answer was not right. So Bhrigu continued the spiritual practices and found out that vital air, prana, was Brahman, since without vital air, other things are in vain. Vital air causes life, promotes life, and puts an end to life. But his father also pronounced this inference wrong and sent him again for further spiritual practice. In this manner, Bhrigu had a third period of austerity when he came upon mind, manas, as Brahman, and later a fourth when he revised that conclusion and believed that it was spiritual wisdom, vijnana. At last, after undergoing a fifth course of spiritual practices, he became aware that spiritual bliss, ananda, was Brahman. He stayed in that bliss of that awareness and never more proceeded to his father. The father sought Bhrigu and congratulated him, who had cast the world away from his memory. He said, "Son, you have merged in that vision." Unquote. This is from Sutravahini, chapter 3. So this is a beautiful story where Swami is emphasizing the 5 koshas this we have in every person, every human being. These are the Anna kosha, the kosha of food, then the Prana kosha, the kosha of vital air, which is the breath we take and the air we have in our body. The mana, the manas, which is the mind that controls our actions, etc. Then vijnana, which is wisdom or intellect that directs the mind. And finally ananda. And you have to cross all of these stages to arrive at ananda, Swami is saying. And that is our true nature. And that ananda is nothing but love, Brahman, God, whatever name we call it. But the outward symbol or outward sign of that is that you have to behave like that and show that in your actions. So to be happy, first we have to go inside and clear out all our impurities, as Dr. Reddy said. And then we can arrive at union with God, which is our true nature. Without that, Swami says, we are not human beings. We have not yet realized who we are. And so this story illustrates that struggle. The other point I understood from this, Dr. Reddy, is that the spiritual practices have to be gone through self-inquiry and self-control. These are the 2 most important parts. And Swami said that 3/4 of spirituality is self-inquiry. If you don't go inside and inquire who you are not going to cross these 5 stages, and you're going to get stuck in one or the other one. So continuing that with diligence and self-control is very important in this process. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. So I hope all of you received this study guide and you have the PDF file. Please print it and study it, because so that you can come prepared. We won't be able to finish the whole thing today, but we'll continue the discussion next week. So this is from Taittiriya Upanishad. This is a part of the Yajurveda, Vishnu Yajurveda. So in this Taittiriya Upanishad, this is very common. There are 3 important sections. One is called Shichavali, and then there is Bhruguvalli, then there is Anandavalli. So these are the 3 sections. This particular story is the section of Bhruguvalli. So in the Shichavali, a lot of you know what we chant, Matrudevo Bhava, Pitrudevo Bhava, Acharya Atiti Devo Bhava is from Shichavali. So what are the basic instructions? We tell Satyam Vada, Dharmam Chara. These are the very common things we hear, that is from Shichavali. Then this Anandavalli, where we talk about really what Ananda is, and then Bhruguvalli. You can see this interesting incident here. This Bhrugu, he is the son of Varuna. Varuna is the great realized. He says, I can touch and give you the knowledge. He can, if you want, he can do. But he wants his son to do his own inquiry. First he says, what is Brahman? He gives me a clue. Brahman is something from which the creation comes. Brahman is something in which the creation sustains, and is something in which the creation is dissolved. So creation is comes, creation is sustained, and creation is dissolved in this Brahman. That is Brahman. Just gives a clue. Go and find out what that is. So because you need to have that jijnasa. That is why this is from Sutravahini. First thing is Yatato Brahma Jijnasa. Only after this you will have the credential to have Brahma Jijnasa. What is this? We talked about before. 4 things. You need to have Viveka, Vairagya, Shat Sampatti, and Mumuksha. Only when you have, then you are eligible for that. So he says, go and find out. Then this son, he is a sincere spiritual seeker, Bhrugu. He goes and does tapas. Okay, where is Brahman, from where it came from, creation, where it sustained, where it dissolved. Then he says, oh yeah, because body, it is very obvious. We all think about ourselves, body. Oh yeah, in body, annam, food is, body is made up of the food, Annamaya Kosha. Oh yeah, we eat the food, so this creation is in the Annamaya, and then we are sustained, we dissolve. Then he says, no good, go and find out. Then he goes back and says, oh no, pranamaya, without breathing, how can you so? Okay, the creation is in the prana, then it sustains, no good. Then he says, mind, without mind we can't think about anything, the whole universe exists in the mind. So manomoolam idam jagat. Then he comes back, okay. Then he says, no, that is not the thing. Because going subtler and subtler, you can give an example. First you have a jacket, you take it off, then you have a vest, you take it off, then you have a shirt, you take it off, then you have undershirt, benin, you take it off, then the body. Similarly, these are all the various sheets. They are the covering the inner treasure. The Atma is covered by these various sheets. First sheet is this, Annamaya Kosha. You need to get rid of the greatest obstacle, body consciousness. Then you get rid of this Pranamaya by stilling the vital air. Then you go to this Manomaya, still the mind, and finally, and then you go to Vijnanamaya Kosha. Then he goes to Vijnanamaya, that is intellect, that is fundamental discrimination, what is the best. Then you go beyond that, then when you go to Anandamaya, then you get to the bliss sheath. So you should go on further and further. That is why this man didn't stop one place till he reached the goal. Then the father says, hey, now you realize the truth. Now you go back. But for us, he says 3 important things in the beginning itself. That is why I want all of you, this is very serious reading. It is not very superficial. That story I told, that is super, that's golden hamster, the goose, that is okay. But here, 3 important points to have the jnana of Brahman. He says, number 1, you should have extreme yearning. He can be known only through extreme yearning. So I want to realize Brahman. You should have that yearning. You should have that longing. You should have that hunger. That is the very important requisite, number 1. Number 2, Swami said, what should be? Cleansed mind, pure heart. That is what we talked about, purity, external purity, internal purity. So second thing, first you need to have longing. Second, you should have purity. And third thing is, you should have concentrated thought. Because our mind, that is why we said to get the purity of the heart, one of the easiest method is doing selfless service. Because then it gets rid of our ego and doership. And then second thing is concentrated thought. We all see when we want to do meditation, mind jumps here, jumps there, goes there. Even we can do for few minutes. That is why when Patanjali Yoga Sutra, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi, people say meditation, Dharana is 12 seconds. Dhyana, 12 times 12, that is 144 seconds. That means 2 minutes 24 seconds if we do, That is meditation. People say, oh, I did 1 hour meditation, 2 hour meditation. Swami said that could be something else, but not. So if you can really do for 2 minutes, 24 seconds, that itself is dhyana. So that means you should have undivided, focused attention on that meditate process. Then that is where you become the meditator. Process of meditation, object of meditation becomes one. That is the stage you should have. So for that, the best is to get that one-pointed attention is bhakti. That is why the Lord Krishna says in Gita, Vyavasayatmika buddhi yekehe kurunandana. The cultured mind is only one-pointed. It just thinks like Arjuna just talk about the eye of the bird when he was shooting. Other people say the sky, the branches and leaves. You should have that one-pointedness. That is what Bahushaka Anantascha Buddhayo Avyavasayanam. Uncultured mind, scattered brain. They jump into something here, and in 1 hour they go to something else, another thing. That means it is like digging for well. Swami said somebody goes on making many holes, you will never hit the water. Only one place you go down deep, then you hit the water. Similarly, you should have that here he says, you should have concentrated thought. So these two, the first is yearning for God, intense yearning, intense longing. We talked about how as somebody is drowning in the water, want for last breath of air, that kind of longing. And second is do the spiritual practices, those that we get purity of the heart. And third, to have the one-pointed love for God. So because once you have that love for God, you forget everything. The greatest example is for us when we are seeing Swami's glory, or we were with Swami, sitting with him, then we forget everything. Time goes fast. We don't even know when and where we are. That is the thing. You completely forget the body consciousness. So these are the 3 important points we should remember. Then we will attain Brahman, because Brahman is bliss. So you can go to a couple of quotes, and then we can stop. And actually we are going to show a little video clip, a part of this study guide, that Brahman, everything is Brahman and Brahman is bliss. Because that is the whole topic. In the beginning we said the purpose of the whole thing is to realize Brahman. Because we said the essence of all scriptures is Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya Jivo Brahmaina Paraha. At least these special formulas we should remember. Only truth is Brahman. The whole world is illusory, and we are nothing but Brahman. So we'll show a beautiful video clip with only 2 minutes 15 something like that. We can watch, and you may enjoy. So we'll have a couple of quotes, and then we'll watch that. Please.
So study guide, page 4 of the study guide. By the way, this is available on the sathya.org website. If you have not received an email, please go to the website and you'll be able to download it. What is happiness? Happiness lies in union with God. If you have the firm conviction that God is in you, with you and around you, you will never face any hardship or misery in your life. Sathya Sai speaks, 4th March 2000. Happiness is essential for God realization. It is one of the major gates to divinity. It is not just a fault if a person is not happy. It is one of the most serious of all faults. It is a barrier to realization. Conversations with Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba, page 75-76. Should we stop here?
Yeah, maybe 2 more quotes.
2 more. It is enough if you develop love and share it with others. It is only when you are happy that you can make others happy. What is happiness? It is union with God. Sathya Sai speaks, 25th February 1998. Man has been given 2 boons, Sukham and Shanti, happiness and peace. Every person in the world, from a king to a beggar, desires only these 2. But what is the happiness that he should speak? Is it physical, mental, or material pleasure? Men are not sure about what kind of happiness they want and where from they can get it. If it is sensory pleasure that they want, they will find that these are only momentary and that they are weakened at the end. This is no pleasure at all. Sathya Sai speaks, 21st May 1992. So these 4 quotes we have here, there are about 8 quotes in this section. First section, what is happiness? Go to the heart of the topic that we are talking about, that is happiness is union with God. And Swami repeats it in different ways, different forms, so it sinks into us that the peace and happiness can only be gotten through the inner inquiry and the inner connection. So this is not the external connection that everybody looks for, which is wealth, wealth, wealth. He calls it WWW. People are all going around it. But it is going inside, and that path to inside is through work, worship and wisdom. And that is how the sensory pleasures and other things are passing. They're like the 2 pleasures with a pain in between, repeated by pain. So pain is the interval between 2 pleasures, Swami says. So he's again making that same point here, that the union with God is the only way to start with. Sairam.
Sairam. So I think this is also formula we should remember. Happiness is union with God. And Swami says spiritual seeker means not putting a long face. He says castor oil face. Don't be gloomy, dull face. You should have a cheerful, enthusiastic attitude. And you should radiate that happiness. You can see they're beaming with joy. So just happiness means, it doesn't mean you make a loud laugh, ha ha. That is, Swami says your joy should be seen. You don't need to hear that is usually they always show in the movies demons showing ha ha, they will loud laughter. So just smile. That is why Lord Rama, Krishna, they are called Mitas Sundara. Just gentle, always cheerful smile on their face. So you should always, ABC, Swami says, always be cheerful. That is a sign of spirituality. If we don't have that, we should think there is something wrong with that. So for that, Swami says we should have peace. So there is a beautiful Tyagaraja Kirtan, which is Shantamuleka Saukyamuledu. He says it is one of the famous Kirtan of Tyagaraja. He is the great Bhakta of Rama, and he attained the ultimate goal of life, the realization and merger with Lord Rama. He says, without Shanti, you can't think about happiness. So for that, Shanti we talked about. How do you get Shanti? Get rid of the ego, get rid of the desire. So this is a constant practice. We don't need to get disheartened. We all have to go on trying, but this is the thing. He says the 2 boons man is given is Shanti and Saukyam. So that is, first you need to get Shanti, the peace, and then with that you will get the Sukham. Because the whole search life is after that. Lord Buddha, being a great king with a beautiful wife and son and the kingdom, he gave away everything. Why? Because he find ultimate happiness. He is in the world's standards, he was happy. He has a kingdom, he has a nice family life. So what else? Everybody will think that is the happy life. But he didn't find, because he realized life is dukkham, dukkham, kshanikam, kshanikam, temporary, full of pain. That is what Lord Krishna also says in Gita, anityam asukham lokam. But what is the solution? Imam prapya bhajasvama. By worshipping me, meditating me, singing my glory, you will be able to realize this happiness. So that is what we should remember. Okay, we'll continue this. Please read these quotes and contemplate on that, and we will discuss next week. Okay, Saira.